Hey, good morning. It's Reggie Pegues here, coming to you from the NYC. Excuse me. That's Queens, New York, prosperingdads.com. And we're continuing our series today, the You Are Worthy series. And as you can see, today's title is The Power of the Changed Mind. But before we begin, as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, this always starts off as a Facebook Live. So as people come on and they type in the comments where they're from and say good morning, just indulge me as I acknowledge them in real time. Just as Ana Sanchez has just jumped on. Good morning. How are you doing? So like you see in the title today, excuse me, tongue-tied, The Power of a Changed Mind. And I'm borrowing this morning from Bishop T.D. Jakes, The Power of a Changed Mind, because we are entering into the new year. Many people have made New Year's resolutions, and we talk about change, and we talk about we want to do things differently, and we want to talk about all these wonderful things. And it all begins, which has been the foundation of this particular series, it begins in our mind. It begins in our mindset. It begins in our thought process. So the power of the changed mind. And what we don't do, we don't recognize. Hey, Nikichi, I got it. Good morning. How are you doing? She's watching all the way from Africa, I believe. The power of, hey Robbie, good morning. So many people are jumping on today. Good morning, good to see you. As we're saying, the power of a changed mind. So we, in this series, we've been sharing and talking about how we have to control our mindset, how we have to control that inner dialogue that we have with ourselves each and every day, how we shape our outcomes by our thoughts. If we examine our lives right today, presently, everything that we have in our life are the results of our thoughts. You know, the job that you have, the place that you live, the car that you drive, the relationship that you're in, your personal possessions. All of these things are connected to your thought process, because thoughts are things, they're energy. And just like the most powerful electromagnet, the energy that your brain sends out is the exact thing that it attracts back to you. So we want to talk about the power of a changed mind, because you have the power to change your mind. We're the only thing on planet Earth that has the ability to change our lifestyle and change our outcomes because we think. You might say, Reggie, what do you mean by that? Well, being that we are human beings and everything else is considered part of the animal kingdom, and we are not animals. Okay, let's just establish that. We are the highest form of being on the planet. But what sets us apart from everything else is that we have the ability to think. We have the ability to change our minds. A cat can be nothing but a cat. A dog can be nothing but a dog. A tree can be nothing but a tree. But a human being can be whatever it imagines itself to be, through the power of the changed mind. So let's look at our minds first and foremost as a magnificently made computer. And if you know anything about computers, whether you know a lot or a little, one of the things about computers, we know that there are default systems. Default systems, meaning you can make changes in the computer, but if push comes to shove, it's always going to go back to a default program. When you have the power of the changed mind, we have the ability to change that default program in our mind. Good morning, Julio. How you doing? We have the power to change that default in our minds, that we don't have to go back to what we were or how we thought 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, last month, or even last year. So as we go into this new year, we have to change our default systems. We have to re-examine what worked for us last year and what didn't work for us last year. And we have to be sure that when challenges come or crisis arise, we don't go back to a faulty default system that didn't serve us. So the first thing to have in place to have the power of a changed mind is that we got to change our default systems. We have to change our fallbacks, the things that we run to when we're not sure, when we're not confident, when we are being challenged on all sides. Those things that we go back to, which are not necessarily good for us, to help us achieve the outcomes that we want. So we have to change our default systems. That's the first thing that we need to do to have the power of a changed mind. The second thing that we need to focus on is it takes consistency. It takes consistency. For example, me getting to a place where I no longer work a regular job, but I have created streams of income where I can sit here and speak to you from my home at 9:43 Eastern Standard Time and know that I've already made a certain amount of income today. That I know that I'm helping a certain amount of people today, that I've created leverage in my life, which is going to be another video that I'm probably going to do tomorrow. We're going to talk about leverage, how we leverage ourselves in 2018, that how I've created leverage in my life, that it makes things easier, that I make money easier, and I earn money easier, and I build my business easier. But I had to stick to it. When I first started out, all I had was a desire to be successful. All I had was a desire to do something else in my life. All I had was the desire to change. But I had to realize first and foremost, I had to change the default system I had, because my first initial default system was I need a job and I have to earn money because I have to pay bills. But when I started changing my mind and realized that I needed an income, not necessarily a job, and that if I'm going to invest the most valuable thing that I have, which is my personal time, into something, I might as well invest it in me, because there's no such thing as job security anymore. When I changed my default system and then I learned to be consistent and stuck to what my goal was, it didn't happen overnight. I got the vision, and it took me 3 years, and the place where I worked, people used to ridicule me, and they used to laugh at me because I used to always talk about that I'm leaving. If you're getting any value out of this, let me get some #1s in the comments to see if you're getting anything, if this is resonating with you, getting any connections. Let me get some thumbs or something while you're out there. And they used to ridicule me, and they used to tell me all the time, oh, you're not leaving. You're not leaving. You're not going anywhere. You're never going to leave this job. And I just kept walking in faith, and I just kept taking it step by step. And I just kept believing. I just kept saying to myself, I'm not going to listen to these outside influences. And I understood, and I became sympathetic and empathetic to their situations, because they didn't have a vision, because they didn't have a plan, that they couldn't see themselves breaking away, that they were stuck and hamstruck by fear, because they didn't believe in themselves enough to take the initiatives and step out and do something different. But I stayed consistent. I stuck with it. And I continue to stick with it every day. Now my motivation is, now that God has set me free and I've created leverage to free myself from the workspace, that when I look at what I used to do, and it wasn't bad work, and for the average, it wasn't like I was making bad money, but I now make And I'm saying this as a point of emphasis. And I want you guys to understand that you're worthy. And I want you to understand that it's possible for you, because God is not respective of person. So if he's done it for me, he'll do it for you. If he did it for David, he'll do it for you. If he did it for Joseph, he'll do it for you. If he did it for Deborah, he'll do it for you. Okay? All of us have seeds of greatness. But because I stuck to it, because I showed life that I wouldn't quit, that because I didn't give up on myself, even through the tough days, I can now sit and know that I have residual incomes from doing the work one time. I've built up and created enough leverage that the work that I've done one time now has gotten easier. So therefore, every day I wake up to new potential clients. I wake up every day to new income. And like I said, I made like almost $20 an hour. Now I wake up on good days, on good days, I wake up before I start my day to several $100s in my bank account because of the work that I did and being consistent and sticking to the goal that I had, which was to build a business and create time freedom and financial freedom for myself and my daughter. The last thing I want to share with you is don't go back. If you're really going to experience the power of a changed mind, you're going to have to stick to it. You're going to have to change your defaults. But most importantly, you don't go back. Don't go back no matter what. Because see, it's easy to fall back into old habits. It's hard to recognize that those old habits didn't serve you. It's hard to close the door on certain things. It's hard to walk away from certain people. It's hard to say that you really want to change and stick to that. So many people right now, it's the new year. People made resolutions. Oh, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to get out of this bad relationship and I'm going to change my job, and it all sounds good until you actually have to do the work. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But once you make the decision to go forward, don't go backwards. There's a story that I love about. There was this warrior, this leader of men, and they were going to go into battle, and the enemy was far outnumbered them. There was so many more of them than it was of this particular group of men. So the captain, the leader of these men, the general, if it were, decided after they landed on foreign shores, being outnumbered, he ordered that all the boats be lined up side by side. And then afterward, he set them all on fire. He turned to his men and said, now we have no way to escape. We have no way to go back. We either win or die. And that's the position that we have to take with ourselves, particularly if we really want to affect change. Eric Thomas always says, you have to want it as bad as you want to breathe. So, don't go backwards. As we recap, I want you to understand that you are worthy, that you have the power to do something that nothing else on this planet can. And that's the power to change your mind. Change your defaults. Change those things that you would readily just run to when things get tough. Change that. Change your defaults. Stick to it no matter what. People call it grinding, but a lot of people say that they're grinding, but they really aren't. They don't understand what grinding really is. But whatever you decide to do, stick to it. And lastly, once you started out on your journey, don't go back. On that note, Want you guys, as always, to hop over to my YouTube channel, Hollis205. Like the videos that you watch there, and if you're not a subscriber, just hit the subscribe button. It's free. And subscribe to my channel so you know when I upload new videos. Hit the notification button right here so you know when I come on each and every day. Like and share this video because someone needs this word today. And as always, you are worthy. You're worthy to have the life that you want to have the things that you want to have, to shape the outcomes that you want to have. And it starts with 100% responsibility. You have to be 100% responsible for self. Take control of every aspect of your life. Work inside out. And you'll see improvement and you'll see the difference in your life. But it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Wake up every day with your mind set on being better today than you were yesterday. And most importantly, I always encourage each and every one of you, go out and serve. Help someone else who's in need. The more you serve, the more you get back. On that note, may God continue to bless you always. You are worthy, and I will talk to you tomorrow.